If a hero is a virtuous character with moral methods, then a villain is an unvirtuous character with immoral methods. And if an anti-hero has a virtuous character but questionable methods, then it follows that an anti-villain must be a character with an unvirtuous character who uses moral methods to enact his will. But this starts to become complicated when you consider that moral methods to enact change are rarely immediately effective enough to make a character considered a villain. One of the most common forms of anti-villain comes in the form of the Dragon, a name for a character who's often the second in command to the real bad guy. Dragons are often only there out of momentum. They might not be evil, but they serve the evil empire because that's their home. They understand the villain might be a tyrant, but their loyalty isn't to him. There are also rival characters, people who oppose the protagonist less because they disagree ideologically, but because they just want to one-up the guy. To them, the conflict is about winning or losing rather than any belief against what the protagonist is doing. Another anti-villain archetype is the well-intentioned extremist, someone who either instigates the plot or sides with the main antagonist out of a belief they're doing the right thing. This person is usually aware that the world sees them as the bad guy, they just don't care, as they assume history will vindicate their actions. Note that most bad guys see themselves this way, and whether or not they're the good guy really comes down to the author's intentions and beliefs. However, there's an argument to be made that the method a villain uses is their moral, and so that violent actions have violent results regardless of the intention behind them. So this raises the question of what exactly defines an anti-villain if the definition is already so vague, and the only satisfying answer is that anti-villains are defined almost exclusively through vibes.